The crew next receives universal sticks and moves into position to install the strain poles and the hot end yoke. On the ground, another member of the crew has connected the bull line to the cradle. He has also attached the strain poles and hot end yoke to the cradle. When the men on the structure are in position, the cradle is raised. One of the men on the ground uses a tag line attached to the cradle to control its movement. When the cradle reaches the insulator string, the men working from the structure and the man on the ground controlling the tag line work together to guide the cradle into position. Once the cradle is in place, the men working from the crossarm use the universal sticks to install the hot end yoke and strain poles. Their first task is to get the hot end yoke around the conductor hanger bracket. The universal tools they are using are called spiral disconnects or pigtails. While one man holds the hot end yoke and one of the strain poles in place, the men working from the cold end of the insulator string line up the other strain pole with the hot end yoke. When the hot end yoke and strain pole are in proper alignment, they are held in place while another member of the crew moves into position to pin them together. A pin holder attachment on his universal stick allows him to manipulate the locking pin into the assembly. With the pin in place, the men using the universal sticks manipulate the hot end yoke into position on the hanger bracket. At the same time, the men working at the cold end install the ends of the strain poles in the cold yoke. Trunnions on the cold end of the strain poles allow the men to transfer strain on the insulators to the strain carrier assembly. When strain has been transferred from the insulator string to the strain carrier, one of the crew members uses a universal stick with a cotter key pusher, or a tomahawk attachment, to unpin the insulator string at the hot end. Another member of the crew installs an insulator holder attachment around the last insulator in the string. Working together, the men disconnect the hot end of the string. The men working from the cold end of the string unpin their end, remove the shunt, and the insulators are lowered to the ground in the cradle. When the new string of insulators is raised up, the men at the cold end reinstall the shunt and manipulate the cradle and insulator string so that the men using the universal sticks can repin them. This time, both men are using insulator holder attachments on their hot sticks to maneuver the insulators into position for pinning. Once the insulators are attached, a cotter key pusher attachment is used to reinstall the cotter key. When the insulators have been secured at the hot end, the men on the structure secure them to the cold end and transfer strain from the strain carrier assembly back to the insulator string. When that's done, the men unpin the hot yoke from one of the strain poles and begin removing the rigging and cleaning up the work site.